Just a reminder, this week it's the Gab and Robbo podcast. What a moment for Stuart Robson. You can check that out over on the website. Right then, interesting stuff here from Pep Guardiola about the fitness, or lack of it, of Kalvin Phillips. He's not injured. He arrived overweight. I don't know why. He didn't arrive in the condition to do training sessions. Of course, he was with the England squad for the World Cup. Calorie counters, Porky Phillips. We love so much. Obviously, this has made headlines back in England.
Well, it's a good time to have a little bit extra weight on. Bearing in mind he's got a big Christmas dinner, I would imagine.
Porky Phillips, my crikey.
Coming up. I mean, how much weight can you put? If you're a fit guy like he is, it's only been since England went out, I don't know, a couple, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks.
The big question is obviously, why has Pep gone public with this?
To try and embarrass the player into...
But it's quite a statement to make, isn't it? Because now he's always going to be the fat one.
I'm sure he'll go over that.
No, but you associate players with what managers say about them. Like, he didn't have to make this public, did he?
Well, when the City manager talks about him being overweight, it's all relative. I mean, we're probably talking, with these guys, a pound. I mean, we can only be talking minute amount.
Yes, I know, but my point is, he could have just had a word with the player and said, sort yourself out, instead of going to the media.
Well, I understand, but he's obviously unhappy with the player. He thinks maybe there's been a bit of lack of professionalism, which would, to me, be strange, because this guy seems pretty much the consummate pro. But I think it's him saying, look, maybe when you were at Leeds, you went off and you had a few pints and ate too much and you were a couple of pounds over, but we're rigid in what we do here.
Right.
And that's unacceptable. That's the only reason I can think of.
Don?
I don't think you can blame Pep Guardiola for telling the truth. I mean, obviously you got asked the question about Kalvin Phillips.
Oh, Don, you know there's ways and means in answering a question, isn't it? You could just say he's not...
But Dan, come on. Like, get a backbone. Like, if you're overweight and you've come back overweight, you're overweight. You're a professional footballer. Like, why has the manager got to protect the player? Because he's going to get asked the question, why is Kalvin Phillips not in your squad? Well, he can't just lie and turn around and go, he's got a back injury.
I'm sure managers lie all the time, Don. He's got a niggle, that's it.
But why do they have to lie? Why can't we have managers that tell the truth? Just because it might shame the player into losing a pound or two, what's wrong with that? Why have we got to protect the player all the time?
Kalvin Phillips. We're only just surmising here. Kalvin Phillips has been out pretty much most of the season,
yes.
Right? Scrambled into the England squad as cover in the end. I'm imagining that City said to him, look, use this England time to keep yourself in shape. Here's your target. Here's your target weight, all body fat, all these things that they do and more. And this is how we want you to come back. And here's the numbers. Hit the numbers, then we crack on for the rest of the season. And maybe he's well over the target numbers that they gave him. That's the only thing I can think of.
Shaq?
The only thing that makes sense is that Kalvin Phillips was very overweight. The only times I've seen or experienced managers calling out players for their weight in this manner, the players have been very, very overweight. So I feel it's more than a case of a pound or two. It's a lot more. And listen, memory doesn't serve me that well, but I don't think Kalvin Phillips featured all that much for England, if at all. So it's not just about putting on a couple of pounds in the last couple of weeks after England was eliminated from the World Cup. It had to be something that was ongoing through the tournament, which is odd. You're training with the England national team and somehow putting on weight throughout. That is the only way that this makes sense. That it's not a pound or two, it's closer to 8 or 9.
Did you put some weight on, Shaq, at the World Cup?
8 or 9, Shaq? Oh, my God. No way.
I don't know. Well, I'm just saying, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know what kind of Kalvin Phillips natural body weight is. I'm just saying, it's a lot.
Dan, I was at Millwall for about 6 or 7 months of my career, and the manager then used to have a thing called Fat Club. And if you were in the Fat Club on a Monday morning, I was never in it because I was always skinny, but if you were in the Fat Club on a Monday morning, you had to go on the treadmill for 45 minutes before every session till you got it off.
Wow.
And let me tell you now, the players on a Monday that were in a fat club, there was only about 3 or 4 of them. Let me tell you, within 2 or 3 days, the pounds got shifted off like you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
I told you this, I remember the former Scotland manager, Craig Brown, used to get annoyed at us about how much we were eating at lunch during Scotland get-togethers.
Really?
Lunch and dinner at the hotel, because at the Marine Highland in Troon, where we used to stay across from the golf course, that was the base for years and years and years, and the food was magnificent. Buffets, starters, smoked salad. Oh, it's marvellous. then they would bring out like the apple crumble and all that. I was like, this is fantastic. I mean, and so
Can I just
go on, Shaq.
No, I was just making the point there that I say Kalvin Phillips is 8 or 9 pounds overweight, and this fitness Craig all of a sudden is all angry. 8 or 9 pounds. Ever since Craig started going to the gym, he's like 8 or 9 pounds. Oh goodness me.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a little reluctant to discuss the Kalvin Phillips situation until I've got clarification on how much he's overweight, because I'll have this down to such a fine art.
There you are. What have you dropped? 11 pounds?
14.
14 pounds.
In 3 weeks.
Look at
if
that.
I can do that,
have him go to the gym with Craig. Have him go to the gym with Craig.
Kalvin Phillips, if he gets on the flight,
never mind Fat Club.
Never mind Fat Club. Never mind Guardiola. Never mind sports science at Man City and all this tripe. If he comes here to the ESPN gym within 72 hours, I'll have him tip-top shape.
Yep. As long as he's not staying at the Nicol household, because that would very much undo any of the work done at the gym.
Well, if he's at Nicol,
his Achilles mightn't be so good.
If he's staying at the Nicol household, not only will he gain double the weight, but he'll go back slobbered by a huge dog as well.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.